Hey friends, it is Lane with Tim's Nation. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about my DeathWatch list that I'm taking into DJ's Necrons. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I love my DeathWatch, but today we're doing something a little bit different. Last time I ran DeathWatch, I ran all Primaris DeathWatch, and I included the Phobos kill team, the Spectre's kill team, and I talked about how much I didn't like it, and a couple people commented, and DJ said, oh, you should run an all Phobos DeathWatch army. Of course, this is a joke, because no person in their right mind would have an entire army of Phobos models, but here we are today with my DeathWatch in the Vanguard Spearhead in an all Phobos army. It's all Phobos. And guess what, guys? It's all WYSIWYG. There's no proxies. It's all painted. Yes, I own an entire army of DeathWatch Phobos. Now, a few things in here kind of are kind of honorary Phobos. We'll talk about those first. The Invictor tactical war suits are technically not Phobos themselves, but they're dreadnoughts that have a scout move, and their special ability is that if you shoot Phobos that's near them, they get to shoot back in the opponent's shooting phase for free. So obviously, because they love Phobos so much, they got to make it into the Phobos list. And then the other thing we have are 3 squads of suppressors. The reason the suppressors are in the all Phobos list is because back in 8th edition, when they released the Vanguard Spearhead box, the Vanguard, I forget what they call it, Vanguard something, where that was the initial release of all the Phobos Marines, the Eliminators, the Phobos, the Infiltrators, the Incursors, all that sort of thing. When they released those, it also had suppressors in it. And I think until this day, that's the only place you could get suppressors because they never released the individual kits for them. But the suppressors were in that box. So while they technically don't have the Phobos keyword on them, they're part of the Phobos family. So they're included in here as well. And the story here is, first of all, you guys dared me to, so I have to. And if we're going to once in a while run something that's not competitive and be silly, we might as well be as silly as possible. But back in 9th edition, they had Armies of Renown, where you could run special armies that had limitations but got extra buffs. They released one for Ultramarines that was an all Phobos army. And because I had a ton of Eliminators and Infiltrators for my DeathWatch Spectre's kill teams, because they were actually good back in 9th edition, I had kind of a start on it, so I was like, yeah, what the heck? I got Invictor tactical war suits. I got suppressors. I filled out the whole Phobos army for the Army of Renown. I never actually played it. I got all the models. I built them. I painted them. My entire Phobos army, never actually painted it. So now that it's finally going to be used. I'm actually going to use all these kits, these ridiculous units here. So it is DeathWatch because we're taking 3 of the Spectre's kill teams. My least favorite kill teams, we're running 3 of them. We're not doing the DeathWatch Black Spear Task Force because that only benefits DeathWatch units, so the rest of the army wouldn't benefit from that very much. And while, Double Oath once per game or the mission tactics, some of the strats would be good, we're just going to do it in the Vanguard Spearhead, so that means the entire army, the detachment rules the entire army when you're being shot at from more than 12 inches away, gets stealth, get -1 to hit. It's not stealth, it's -1 to hit. And they also are considered to be in cover. So it just gives the whole army some extra durability from shooting. And we've got some good stratagems in here, some good enhancements. We'll get through those after I get through the actual list. But let's talk about it. Let's go through this ridiculous, obscene, absolutely ludicrous, all Phobos DeathWatch list. Here we go. All right, you guys, spake it into existence, all Phobos DeathWatch. This is 1,985 points of DeathWatch in the Vanguard Spearhead detachment. So for characters, we have the Captain in Phobos armor. So the Captain in Phobos armor was always kind of terrible because he was the same number of points as all the other captains. But the nice thing is that they dropped his points a little bit, so he's only 70 points. He doesn't really shoot or fight very well at all compared to other captains. He still gives his unit a free strat per turn, but the other thing, his special ability, is that he allows you to redeploy 3 infantry units before the roll-off, and he redeploys that before the roll-off to see who goes first. But it does mean it used to be locked to Phobos, but now it is any infantry units just Adeptus Astartes Infantry. So the redeploy happens for them. So I've got a bunch of units here that I can kind of redeploy. This army is going to be crazy at the start of the game because I have a bunch of scout moves. I have a bunch of infiltrate. I have a bunch of they got the redeploys. It's just going to be, we're going to be all over the place here. So, of course, he does the once per battle round free strat for his unit too. It's nice that in Vanguard we have some decent strats that are going to buff either shooting or fighting. So that'll be nice to have there. He has the enhancement on him. Let me see. What's the name of it? Here we go. Execute and redeploy. So after his unit shoots, his unit can then move 6 inches. So they have a move after they've shot of 6 inches. They are not allowed to charge after having done this, and it also excludes them from doing a second move because you could be with Eliminators or the Spectre kill team with an Eliminator with the Instigator Bolt Carbine that could also have a move after you shoot. So the enhancement specifies that you can only move once after shooting. So that's fine. We only need to move the one time. Moving on, we do have 2 of the librarians in Phobos armor. So the librarians in Phobos armor, as librarians do, they give their unit a 4-up feel no pain to psychic attacks. Kind of boring. The other thing they do is another defensive ability. And while they're leading a unit, that unit cannot be targeted outside of 12 inches. So it gives their entire unit lone op. Kind of cool if you pair them with infiltrators, because then you have a unit that you can't deep strike within 12 inches and can't shoot at within 12 inches, outside of 12 inches. So it makes an incredibly durable unit. But here we're going to put them in the Spectre's kill team. This means the Spectre's kill team cannot be shot unless you're within 12 inches. And even then, they've got stealth from the Phobos Libby's ability. So it makes them kind of extra durable. And allows the Spectre's kill teams have a lot of heavy weapons in them, so it actually benefits them if they can just stand still and shoot for a turn, and if they can't be targeted outside of 12 inches, that allows them just, so like the Eliminators and the Bolt Carbines in there, a lot of them are heavy, so they're going to benefit from that as well. So those would be perfect matches for our Spectre's kill teams. Moving on to our other characters, we have 2 lieutenants in Phobos armor. These guys for 55 points have a lot of play. They infiltrate, they scout, and they do have deep strike, so they can join any of the Phobos armor Marines and take advantage of their abilities there. Of course, they give their unit lethal hits as well. And also, they allow their units to shoot after they've moved as well, still with the exclusion that they can't charge afterwards. Now, I'm going to have one of these guys just going solo. He'll be by himself because I'm going to use him as a scoring piece, and I gave him the enhancement Ghost Weave Cloak, which makes him lone op and stealth. Now, you may be wondering, like, Lane, why does it matter? Because at 55 points and plus a 15-point enhancement, now he's 70 points, which is the same as the Combi Weapon Lieutenant. You're right. It's the same. They both have lone op. They both have stealth. The main difference is that the Phobos Lieutenant has deep strike. And so I have a strat in this detachment where I can uppy downy 2 Phobos units. So it puts them into reserve. It doesn't give them deep strike. So by having this little guy as a scoring unit who has deep strike, I can put him anywhere on the table, and the lone op will just help keep him alive. The Combi Weapon Lieutenant is very good. He's got a counter move and everything, but he does not have deep strike. So if I uppy downy him, he would just have to come in from a table edge. So moving on, we do have the Lieutenant with Combi Weapon. The other lieutenant with Phobos armor, the one that does not have the enhancement, he's going to join a squad of Reavers just to plus up their abilities in there a little bit. And then the lieutenant with Combi Weapon here, of course, because he does have lone op. I pick one objective at the start of the game, and if my opponent is ever on there, I'm going to reroll 1s to wound when I attack it, as long as this guy's alive. He also has a counter move, which is super nice. If somebody moves within 9 inches of him, he can move 6 inches away to just kind of keep himself safe, so we get his buffs, and he's great for scoring and things. He is going to have the enhancement Shadow War Veteran. This is a 30-point enhancement that makes it so that he has what we'll refer to as the Vect aura. It's Lord of Deceit aura. Anytime my opponent tries to use a stratagem and he's within 12 inches of this model, you increase the cost of that strat by 1 CP. All right, those are our characters. Moving on, we've got two. Well, okay, let's get to the big show here. The reason we're running DeathWatch, Spectre's kill teams. We have three of my least favorite kill teams. 3 Spectre's kill teams. These are 10-man kill teams. There's a variety of models you can put in these, but they're all the Phobos type armor. Now we're going to be using these as shooting platforms. You can put Reavers in there to make them better at combat. The Incursors are pretty good at combat, anyways, but. Yeah, we're using these as shooting platforms. So each one is going to have 3 eliminators with las fusils. We're not taking the Instigator bolt carbines in the Spectre's kill teams because we shouldn't need to move them after they shoot too much. For one, the one that's joined by the captain will have that ability through the enhancement on the captain. And I just want as many las fusils as possible because that's my only anti-tank shooting, and it's not that great anyways. And then the Spectre's kill teams led by the librarians will not be targetable outside of 12, so hopefully they don't have to move too much to keep safe. So I'm not worried too much about the Instigator. So in the Spectre's kill teams, each one has 3 eliminators with las fusils. Next, each one will have 3 infiltrators. The infiltrators are required. You have to have at least 3 of them. They have the least interesting guns. Now, of course, in this unit, the guns get DeathWatch buffs, just like they would in, say, the Indomitor kill team or the Fortis kill team. So the infiltrator bodies have on them the DeathWatch Marksman Bolt Carbine. Now, this is 2 shots at 24 inches. It is heavy, so if they're going to stand still, which hopefully they get to, they'll be hitting on 2s. They do have strength 5, AP 1, 1 damage, and lethal hits. So they're just a little bit better than regular bolters in that they're strength 5, AP 1, and they have the lethal hits baked in because they're DeathWatch. Now, in each of these infiltrator squad, one of the infiltrators can take an enhancement, either the 6-up Feel No Pain or the Refund of CP used on this unit for on a 5-up. I'm going to take the Refund of CP enhancement because I'm hoping they survive and don't get attacked too much, so I'm not that worried about the Feel No Pain. We'll see. Hopefully I can keep enemies away from them. They can kind of stay safe because most everything's at least 24-inch range, and they can't be targeted outside of 12. So that's why we're going with we can only choose one. If you take an infiltrator squad of just 5 infiltrators, they can choose both of those improvements. But we're just taking the Refund of CP on a 5-up if you use it on the unit. Moving on, we've got 4 Incursor bodies in each of these. The Incursors have a little bit of combat, and that their base combat attack is 3 attacks, strength 4, AP 1, 1 damage, and sustained. So they do have the AP 1, which gives them a little bit of combat punch. Their bolters are the better bolters, though. It's the DeathWatch Oculus Bolt Carbine. So the DeathWatch Oculus Bolt Carbine on them is similar to what's on the infiltrators. The 2 shots, they're not heavy, so they hit on 3s, but they are assault in case I need to advance. Strength 5, AP 1, 1 damage. They are ignore, cover, and lethal hits. So they've got those little DeathWatch improvements to make them better than regular Incursor squads at strength 5 and lethal hits. So when we're going after these, the vehicles that DJ has today, a few lethal hits might help us chip a few more wounds through there. And they ignore cover, which is kind of a nice little buff because normally they don't have AP, but when they're DeathWatch, they've got the AP 1. So it's a little bit of shooting. Again, it's not going to be super powerful. The idea is hopefully they stay safe by not getting shot for as much of the game as possible. Of course, the Spectre's kill team, the special rule is that they can uppy and downy. This is similar to Space Marine Scouts in that when they get picked up, they do not get deep strike. So they have so they just have to come in from a table edge. I don't imagine I'll be uppy downing them too much because I have a bunch of other units that I'll be using for board control, for doing secondaries, for that sort of thing. I want to keep these guys sitting still as much as I can, just because that means they'll be getting the +1 to hit, because both the Eliminators, the Infiltrators, their weapons are heavy. So they get the little bit better shots there. The other couple of rules that these guys have is they have both Infiltrate and Scout 6 inches. So the Spectres infiltrate and have Scout 6 inches. Plus, they have a rule listed in there that when a character joins them, the character gets Infiltrate and Scout 6 inches as well. So the Librarians normally just have Infiltrate. The captain just has infiltrate, but they gain the scout from joining the Spectre's kill team because it's specifically called out in there. I wish all the Phobos units had this kind of gift, I guess, to their leaders, because it'd be nice if they didn't cancel out their abilities by taking someone who couldn't pair with them well. So anyways, those are the Spectre's kill teams. I still don't like them, but here they are, guys. You asked for it, and they arrived. They're here. Let's see what they do today. Moving on, DeathWatch all Phobos. We've got 2 squads of Eliminators. Now, I do have in each of these 2 Las-Fusils and 1 Instigator Bolt Carbine. Eliminators, if there's an Instigator Bolt Carbine in the unit, and the Bolt Carbine is not that great a shot. It's 1 shot, hits on 3s, strength 4, AP 2 damage, precision. Not really impressive at strength 4. However, after it's shot, we do have the ability to move them 6 inches so they can move, shoot, and then move back into cover and stay sneaky. The Las-Fusils are strength 9, 1 shot, strength 9, AP 3, D6 damage. Of course, we have Las-Fusils here and in the Spectre's kill teams. It's the only anti-tank punching I have. And it's strength 9. That's not super great, but it gives us some ability to punch into vehicles a little bit. They are heavy, so if we hold still with them, we get to hit on 2s. The squad does have the stealth ability, so they're going to be a little bit harder to shoot. They do have infiltrate, so I can't infiltrate them. And then they also have an ability if they remain stationary. Then at the start, if they remain stationary, then when they shoot, their weapons get devastating, which I guess could be neat. If I roll a 6 to wound, it'll go right through. Cool. We'll see if that comes up. They're probably going to be moving a fair amount, though. Moving on, we do have 2 Reaver squads. So Reavers, they've got little AP1 pistols that AP1 pistols that have precision. They do have close combat weapons. Their close combat knife is 4 attacks. Hits on 3, strength 4, AP1, 1 damage. So not high strength, but does have AP1. They're 4 attacks apiece, so they do have a lot of them, and they do have precision. So both their pistols and their combat attacks have precision, so they can kind of precision out weaker characters. Again, only T4 and all this stuff, but we can get through there. They do have deep strike, so that's an ability. They do have the scout move. I'll probably be starting one of these off the board so they can deep strike in. Now, we do have a couple key rules here that make them good for denying opponents secondaries and primaries. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range or 1 or more units with this ability must take a battle shock test at -1. So at the start of the fight phase, anybody they're engagement range with will have to take a battle shock, meaning they can't use defensive strats. And if we're trying to take an objective, it means it allows us to take that objective. Second, while an enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, is within 3 inches of 1 or more units with this ability, subtract 1 from the objective control characteristic of models in that enemy unit. And objective control can go down to 0. It's one of those stats that does not have to be limited to 1 at the least, so I can take them down to 0. Yeah, that's it. They're 80 points, and they can kind of get in there with a scout move or a deep strike and cause some problems for your opponent, both through battle shocks and through messing with their OC. Moving on, the suppressors. As I said, the suppressors are kind of in the Phobos family because they were released in the same box, and I think until this point, that's the only place you can get them. So we do have 3 3-mans of the suppressors. The suppressors, they can only be taken in 3-mans, even though they look like they're big, thick boys. They're just T4 Marines with 2 wounds. They do have jump packs. They do move 12 inches, which is handy for them to be able to score secondaries and that sort of thing. Each one has an auto cannon that is 3 shots. It's strength 8, AP1, 2 damage. Ballistic skill is 4. They are heavy, so if they hold still, then they will be hitting on 3s. So, really swinging on if they do much damage. Only AP1. Strength 8 and 2 damage is nice, but at only AP1, they usually don't chew through a whole lot. But they're cheap at 75 points, a bit cheaper than jump intercessors. Then here, like I said, they're part of the Phobos family. But their special rule is that after they've shot something, that enemy unit, they pick one enemy unit they hit with shooting attacks, and until the start of my next turn, that unit is -1 to hit, both in shooting and fighting. So I can really mess with my opponent's ability to attack. And if my opponent does kill the unit that tagged them, then it shuts off that debuff. So at least with Vanguard, they're going to be neg-1 to hit and in cover anytime they're targeted. So hopefully that keeps them alive a little bit longer. And then we've got three Invictor tactical war suits. While they don't have the Phobos keyword, which would be hilarious on a Dreadnought, they are part of the Phobos family because, oh, they do have the Phobos keyword. Never mind. I'm looking at my app right now. They do have Phobos. So the Phobos Dreadnoughts, they have a 6-inch scout move, which is great. I'm sorry, 8-inch scout move, so they can kind of get out there. You can deploy them aggressively and either move into cover or move forward. Their special rule is that if you shoot Phobos units, if your enemy shoots Phobos units within 6 inches of these guys, they get to shoot back at the unit that shot at their Phobos buddies for free. They don't have impressive shooting, so that's not like that great a buff. But they are an 8-inch move. They get an 8-inch scout move, so they can kind of get into good board position. They're shooting. They got a bunch of little guns here. They've got a frag storm grenade launcher, a heavy bolter, and then the twin Iron Hail heavy stubber. You can either take a twin Iron Hail autocannon or an Incendium cannon. I'm taking the Incendium cannon, the super flamer on these. It's a D6 plus 3 torrent weapon, strength 6, AP 1 damage, ignores cover. So they can put a little flame onto some stuff. Not super durable as far as dreadnoughts go. They are only toughness 8, which is a pretty low toughness. And their save is a 3-up as opposed to most dreads, which are normally toughness 10 with a 2-up save. They do have 12 wounds still. There are OC4, so they can kind of hold objectives a little bit. But really, the only other source of any kind of anti-tank in this army is their close combat fist. It's still a dreadnought fist. It's the Invictor fist. 5 attacks that hit on 3s. Strength 14, AP 2, flat 3 damage. So they do still pack some punch here. So that's it. That is the list. Okay, yeah, I think I misspoke at the beginning of the video, guys. The Invictor Tactical Warsuits do have the Phobos keyword, so they are part of the Phobos family. Yeah, so the plan today is, first of all, for me to just figure out how I deploy, because it's going to take forever. Everything either has Infiltrate or Scout. The Spectre kill teams have Infiltrate and Scout. I can redeploy 3 units with the Captain ability. The Suppressors are the only thing that doesn't Infiltrate or Scout, hilariously. So, but they do have a 12-inch move. I'll probably put one of those in Deep Strike just for a scoring unit. The other ones can be on the table so they can move around. It's so many little scoring units. And not a ton of damage output. It's just going to be really death by 1,000 cuts when these guys attack. So I was just really hoping that those last fusils get some good wound rolls. Hoping that DJ doesn't roll his 4-up invulns on the Ghost Arcs. Then maybe a couple punches from Invictor Tactical Warsuit to take him down. Other than that, not a whole lot of damage output from this army, but they're going to be really hard to deal with because so many things, like the Spectre's kill teams will be led by the Librarians will be untargetable outside of 12. The one led by the Captain is going to move after it shoots, so they're going to step out, shoot at something, and move back. The Eliminator is going to step out, shoot, and then move back. The Reavers led by the Lieutenant can move after they've shot, although they can't charge. They're probably going to try to charge, but a lot of counter moves here. So some key enhancements, or not enhancements, key stratagems we're going to be using. There is a counter move strat. Anytime your infantry unit is charged, you can spend 1 CP to move them D6 inches. But if they're Phobos or Scout, and pretty much the whole army is Phobos other than the Suppressors, they can move flat 6 inches. So a flat 6-inch counter move after they've been targeted for a charge just makes it so they're much more difficult to get tied up. Also kind of helps keep the Spectre's kill team safe. Like I said, I don't want them getting tied up in combat. I don't want them to have to move a whole lot because I want to take advantage of their heavy weapons by having them stand still and shoot. Other than that, we also have a 2 CP strat that gives an entire unit precision. I don't know how useful that would be. I really only use it on the Spectre's kill teams. And the Incursor bodies in there, and there are 4 in there. The only ones with any kind of AP. Everything else is just strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. I mean, the Librarians and the Captain that attach have a little bit of AP too, but nothing super impressive. I don't think we're going to use that. We do have a stratagem that lets us sticky an objective, and we put essentially put a bomb on there so that when the opponent moves within range of it, they're going to most likely take D3 mortal wounds. Kind of a neat sticky. But I don't know how much I'll be using that just because I've got so many little units to go out there and be on objectives. What I do know I'll be using a strike from shadows. That's a strat where if I'm more than 12 inches away from a target and I shoot, I get +1 to the hit roll, and I get +1 AP, which is going to be super useful for, I mean, the last fusils are already be at AP3, which is already pretty good. But all the other bolters in the Spectre's kill teams will go from AP1 to AP2, and the incursor ones already ignore cover. So that's a pretty good sweet spot to be in when we're shooting at infantry, to be at that AP2 ignoring cover. Other than that, we also have, I think it's called Guerrilla Tactics. It's an uppy-downy strat. I can uppy-downy 2 Phobos units for 1 CP or 1 regular Space Marine unit. This will be fun for just scoring later in the game. I'll probably put a squad of Reavers in Deep Strike and a squad of Suppressors. I'll have a lot of board control, but later in the game, I'll be able to pick up 2 Phobos units. That's what I'm going to be using that Lieutenant with the Lone Op enhancement for, because he has Deep Strike. Again, the strat doesn't give them Deep Strike. It just allows you to pick them up and put them in reserve, so they have to come in from a table edge. But if I use it on something that has Deep Strike, like Reavers or the Phobos Lieutenant, they will have that and be able to use that for scoring purposes. So that's how we're going to use here today. Really, it's a matter of figuring out how I deploy and redeploy and scout and all that business to make sure I'm doing all that stuff optimally, and then just kind of focusing down on some units. I definitely have the ability to score secondaries here because I have a lot of smaller units, more than I usually have with Space Marines. So we'll see how that plays out in the secondary game. And as far as primary, it's just going to be a matter of trying to protect 1 or 2 objectives to keep them, because they don't have a lot of OC in this army. The Reavers have some counterplan to my opponent's objective controlling ability, but I've only got 2 units of those. And they're just little Marines, so they'll just die pretty quick. So follow me over to the battle report. Let's see how the all Phobos DeathWatch army does. All right, have a good one, guys.